but your interaction with these kids. Your love, your compassion, your belief in them sometimes will be enough to get them over the hump of negativity. It works, believe me. There's been many times in my life when I've tried to just go over the edge, but there will be a person, a mentor, a teacher, someone like you who told me that I was bigger and better, that I didn't have to do that, so I had to make that choice, and I pulled back. And when my telephone rings, my best friend is on the other end of the line, and I pick up the phone. I said, Reggie, I said, I'm tired, man. He said, Garrett, what's going on? I said, I got this gun, and I'm going to do this thing. He said, what are you talking about? He says, you got a gun? What? He says, hold on a minute. I'll be over. Just hold on. And sometimes we got to tell our kids just to hold on, that help is coming, that there's a brighter future for them. And when my friend shows up 5 minutes later, he walks up to my room and he sees my gun in my hand. And I thought my friend was there to save me, but he said no. He said, if this is the way you want to check out, that's fine, Mark. But everything that you tried to do in your life successfully, people have told you that you can't. You're 18 years old and you are still alive. And where I grew up in the west side of Dayton in the inner city, it was catastrophic. Because when you live in Section 8 housing and you have gangbangers and you have people shooting and people selling drugs and you walk alive. In my life, me to greatness, and it or even remember your name. It will be like you never even mattered. It will be like you never existed. My friend turns around, he walks down my steps, he gets in his car, and he takes off. I'm sitting there with a very critical decision to make. Do I live or do I die? But I can't do both. I've got to make a decision. And as tears started streaming down my face, I became very conscious of my heartbeat. And I remember one time when Miss Ritchie came into the classroom, I was very frustrated. I just had a very bad day. And she put her hand on my heart and she says, I feel that. I feel you. Your heart is beating life, son. You are important. You are significant. You have a greater sense of purpose. And as I was sat there crying with this gun in my hand and hearing her words, a poem came to mind by Robert Frost that said, somewhere ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I chose the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. And all of a sudden, something said, breathe. And then a voice said, breathe. And then a voice said, breathe. And I knew at that moment that I didn't know how I was going to make it out of that situation. I didn't know where I was going to end up. But I knew that if I just continued to focus on my breathing, that maybe life itself could work it out for me. Maybe the destiny of my life could begin to allow me to see that I had a greater sense of purpose. And in 1986, I put down the gun and I began to live. All because of people like you who inspire kids to be better. That is an amazing, amazing gift to have. When you go home today and you look in the mirror at yourself, be proud about what you do. Be proud that you are here. Be proud that you showed up. Be proud that you are here for something bigger, because all of you are important. The thousands of kids that you are impacting, well, I'm sorry, it's really not thousands of kids. It is hundreds of millions of kids. Because in what it is we do, if we get one child over that hump, whether it's in an adopted family or giving them words of inspiration, and they succeed, there are yet generations unborn who will be affected by what it is you do. My kids are different because of what you do. Their kids will be different because of what you do and what I've taught them and what was instilled in me by people like you. And Miss Ritchie, she was the catalyst, but there were many, many others. There were mentors. There were CASA volunteers. There were guardians ad litem who infiltrated into my life, who inspired me to be the person I am today. And I am forever grateful, because statistically, I shouldn't be here. But you told me that I could. So my success is your fault. But anyway, but it's all about this thing as we look at it. We call it perception. Perception is looking at something and understanding that what you see doesn't always have to be the reality. I dreamed of the Dave Thomas Foundation. I dreamed of speaking here. I never knew how to do it. I've spoken all over the country, all over the world, but I never knew how I would be able to be here on this stage today, but I never stopped believing. And then one day I'm in a place called Portland, Oregon. And this wonderful director was there giving a keynote speech. And I went up to her afterwards. I said, my name is Mark Anthony Garrett. I'm from Columbus. She's like, you're from Columbus too? We did a high five. And it's amazing. What are the chances of that? I'm from Reynoldsburg. Really, me too? And we start talking. And I told her, I said, you know, I really followed your organization for years. I said, if there's ever an opportunity for me to help or to be of service, let me know. And we exchanged cards, and I really didn't think any more about it. And then this lady named Jackie Wilson, she gives me a call. And if you guys know Jackie, Jackie is what we call a ball of raging enthusiasm. I mean, she's like a bottle of lightning, like a bottle of sunshine. And I'm like, man. So she calls me and she's like, Mark Anthony Garrett. I'm like, yes. She's like, Jackie Wilson, one of these wonderful kids, we have a conference coming up and I want to know, will you be interested? And, and so we start talking. And we start talking, and Jackie is just, and we're just vibing back and forth. My wife is like, who are you talking to? I'm like, talking to Jackie Wilson, right? So I said, leave me alone. So I'm talking, we're going back and forth, right? And we're so excited. And she says, I tell you what. She says, why don't you come in and meet our team? She says, we don't make a decision without the team. So I came in and I sat down with this group of individuals, and when I walked in, the passion that they had for what it is they do. And they talked about this conference and the people that will be here, and they talked about resiliency, and we talked about love and compassion, and they asked me, what do you do and why do you do what you do? And I explained, I said, I'm just here to be of service. And we kind of talked for a couple months after that, and then they gave me a call and said, hey, would you be here today? That's how life works. Who knew that a young inner city black kid from Dayton, Ohio, who nobody wanted, who was physically, mentally, sexually abused, 9th grade high school dropout, in and out of gangs, would be here today all because of what you do. What you do works. And I am forever grateful.